Brothers and sisters, we are blessed in countless ways. Everything that we do in our life is a gift from God. He has filled us and surrounded us with so many blessings. The way of gratitude is the way of the believer. Walking throughout life, breathing the air, drinking and eating, and everything else should lead us to a life where we appreciate all of these blessings. The best way to appreciate is to come to know and love Allah intimately and to be His servant, to do His work in the world. That's where true gratitude comes in. Claiming to believe in and love and be grateful without living a life of devotion and commitment is hypocrisy. As believers, we have to seek competence just like we grew up going to school. We went to college, we sought a trade, and we worked really hard, and we continue to work really hard at these worldly interests of our competence in the world. We need to make sure we have competence in the eternal spiritual truth that we are all accountable to live according to. Competence is only gained through practice, through effort. You become skillful because you work at things. Self-confidence is crucial if you want to grow and progress in life. You have to believe in yourself. And you can only believe in yourself if you have a reason to believe in yourself. People believe in themselves for different reasons. We've seen people, for certain philosophies or personal visions, achieve great worldly things. But for a believer, for one who affirms prophethood and revelation, self-confidence can only be through Allah. Allah tells us in the Quran in many places how He will be with us. This gives us a sense of comfort. It instills confidence in us that God is with us. We have this sense of confidence in who we are and what we want to do because it is informed by knowing Him and Him being with us. We're always going to face opposition. Every prophet, every follower of prophets have been oppressed and face opposition. To suppose otherwise is futile. He tells us in Surah Al-Anfal, وَأَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ وَلَا تَنَازَعُوا فَتَفْشَلُوا وَتَذْهَبَ رِيحُكُمْ وَاصْبِرُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الصَّابِرِينَ. He says, obey God and the Messenger, and do not be in conflict among yourselves, lest you fail and lose your strength. Truly, patience is going to move you. You must engage in a life of perseverance and steadfastness, because He is with those who are patient and perseverant. So He gives us a formula here. First and foremost, if you truly want the strength from Al-Qawi, from the source of all strength, you need to know Him, and you need to do His will, and you need to know the messenger He sent with his example, and follow his example and obey him. And you must never be in conflict with others who affirm this truth. It is normal to differ. It is normal to disagree. I don't agree with that. I think that is the better approach. I feel like we should do this. I think that will cause a problem. We've seen in this and that. And people share ideas and then they come to some sort of shura, consultative agreement by democratic means, or there's a leader who is this official representative, and after consulting, this person takes, then we all move together as one with respect to our differences. That is the formula. Otherwise, you will fail and you will lose your strength. You must be patient, perseverant, stick to what you know is the right thing. Know that there's nothing to worry about except death coming and not being ready for it. That's the only one thing that any true believer should be worried about. Everything else is no problem. The Prophet ﷺ gave us a formula. In a hadith that has been narrated by many companions, meaning he said it time and again. Yadullahi ma'al jama'ah. The hand of God is with the collective of believers. Those who are together. Those who do not divide themselves and say, yeah, I'm not with those. Those are not real. Those are sellouts. Those are wrong. They don't follow Islam right. I mean, there legitimately are people who claim to be Muslim who have clearly gone away from what Islam is. Is that a large group? No. It is actually a small group, and we all know who they are. Actually, most of the normal believers would clearly see this is not Islam. But what happens is people who are all following normative prophetic legacy get into conflict and destroy their own potential together. It is easy for us to get swayed and in awe of those who seem to be powerful in the world. Oh, those are the leaders, those are the rulers, those have influence. It's very easy to, oh no, what if I better make sure I get my act together so I can fit in with them. I don't want their wrath upon me. And then you forgot who you claim to be with if you're in this room for the right reason. The Quran tells us, وَاصْبِرْ وَمَا صَبَرُكَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ وَلَا تَحْزَنْ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا تَكُ فِي ضَيْقٍ مِّمَّا يَمْكُرُونَ إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ مُحْسِنُونَ. The truth is, you must be steadfast, perseverant. You can't have that, and it will never mean anything without Allah. If you're not doing that with and by and through Allah, it will not be real patience. You will be conflicted while claiming it. Then he says, don't be saddened or feel down by those who are opposing you. Don't be annoyed or discouraged by those who are plotting against you. Truly, God is with the pious altruists. Again, he gives us a formula. Stick to what you know is right. Stick to that patient steadfastness because he is with you if you are doing that. Don't get bothered or worried or swayed or upset or feel weak or low because of what those who have power and influence are saying or doing. Because Allah is with those who are pious, those who genuinely, sincerely are looking to follow his message to the best of their ability. They are remembering him in why they do what they do and how they assess their priority system. And the reason why they do what they do, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ مُحْسِنُونَ, they want to make others' lives better. See, the corruption and the evil we're seeing from the Zionists and all of their allies for their economic interests, which is justifying a genocide right now with our taxes. That whole reality, we have to see where we fit into this equation. We can't be like, oh no, look how powerful, look what they can do and get away with, and if I say or do the wrong thing, then maybe I will. As long as you are principled with Allah, and you are principled in your knowledge of truth, you should not allow that to bother you. Because what they're doing, they're willing to murder children by the thousands for economic interest and tribal power. We are muhsinun. What we are trying to do with our values and our influence and our strength is to improve the lives of everyone on earth, including them once they give up this evil idea. But you have to believe that and know that. Or did you become tribal, think you're fighting for a flag and a nationality? Because you have and will fail if that's what you think you're doing. You have to know where the Nasr comes from. An-Nasir. You have to know who is the master. Ni'ma al-Mawla wa ni'ma al-Nasir. If you believe in these things and you live accordingly, we have seen. It's not the Imam all, blinded by his religious teachings and his preaching on Jummah. No, I am a student of history. I have seen the facts. The truth was with the believers when they stuck to the formula. When they left the formula, we fell and became weak and humiliated. And that is what our reality is. How we see Allah influences our attitude, our decisions. How we remember Him in our daily lives informs our sense of self-confidence. The Prophet ﷺ narrates for us a beautiful hadith. He says that God has declared to humanity, أَنَا عِنْدَ ظَنِّ عَبْدِي بِي وَأَنَا مَعَهُ إِذَا ذَكَرَنِي. He says, I am as my servant assumes of me. Now pay attention close. If someone is claiming to believe in Allah, but they're not really sure, and they've heard some things, and it seems like this, and look how weak we are, and all of that, then they will get that. If that's how they see it, that will be your reality. He will give you exactly as you see yourself. Remember the story of Moses? We are just a lowly people. He said, go and fight. It's in the Quran, Surah Al-Ma'idah. How they saw themselves as like grasshoppers. And they are so powerful. They forgot who it was that's sending them. They're relying on themselves. And they still are. But Allah is teaching us a lesson because who we are relying upon. The Prophet said that God declared, I am what my servant assumes of me. If we assume Allah is as He says He is, as He is, then when we remember Him, He will be with us. And that will be a sense of strength and comfort. And we will see truth and justice prevail so that people can have peace and freedom. If you don't really know God, and then you either don't remember Him, or when you remember Him, it's superficial and cultural, then you will see an internal conflict. And that internal conflict will lead to low self-esteem, weakness, and ultimate failure. Look at our situation and where we're at, and tell me where you stand. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه فإنه هو الغفور الرحيم. Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah. True self-confidence is to believe in yourself through rational means. Knowing Allah leads to a sense of love, a sense of devotion, purpose, meaning, a sense of trust, reliance. And that empowers us in all of our engagements, what we do at school, at work, with our neighbors, with our free time. If that's what you are, a committed servant of God, because that's what you do and how you live and how you think, that will inform so much. So now tell yourself, how I live my life, am I really a servant of God? Or do I see Islam as some sort of cultural inheritance from my parents and the country I come from and things like this? Have they got me with the nationalistic golden calf that is now the new way of people? If you're going to have this sense of self-confidence, if you will believe in yourself successfully, you have to spend time each day studying scripture, reading down the Quran, taking some notes, reading down the hadith and the seerah and taking some notes, asking questions where need be, taking principles where need be, and formulating your sense of purpose. I mean, when you went to school and you read books, did you go take a class without ever having taken notes? Did you ever succeed on a test at school without having taken notes and reflecting back to study those notes? It's the same thing with religion, same thing with being with Allah and expecting of Him certain things. And so then you have to talk to God. You have to have a relationship. A lot of Muslims come to me, and I'm sick and tired of it, to be honest with you, because this is not our way. They think that the whole religion is something prescribed robotically in some book somewhere, that some sheikhs, what am I supposed to pray in this situation? And I say, well, you should just think from your heart and mind, what's your situation? And then ask Him. He said, Udu'uni astajib lakum. He didn't say, Is'alu al-shaykh wa iqra al-hadith wa qul ma qalu. That is not the religion. That is a person that does not understand spirituality. They need someone else to be their spiritual means. Allah is ready and waiting. If you talk to Him, He will listen and He will answer you. I have seen this throughout my life for the last 25 years in profound ways. But how much do you talk to Him? Do you ever just talk to Him, even if you're not praying? Ya Allah, this situation, I need your help. Sincerely, like you talk to Him. I'm really struggling with this. I need you. Guide me, show me the way, make it easy for me. You do that in your daily life. This is the way. Then you reflect on what's going on in the world. So now you know His will, you know His message. You have an intimate bond with Him, and you are with Him. Now you look at reality and you reflect deeply. What's happening and why? How do I know? Now you're able to deal with things with a very strong sense of foundation. You are rooted. You are based, as they say nowadays. So you have to have both of these. You have to, if you want to believe in yourself with confidence, you have to have an intimate knowledge of God and reality. The scholar said, if you have a deep understanding of religion, fiqh, but you don't have tasawwuf, then you're going to be doing things in some sort of superficial, robotic way. If you have a lot of spirituality, but you don't understand the religion, you're going to do things in some mystical, way with no real purpose and guidance. You have to know reality, and you have to know God, and you have to go unifying those two. Having a good knowledge of history and what's going on right now in the world, as well as how things work in the world, in every way, this builds strength and wisdom. A Muslim should be a student of beneficial knowledge. We should not believe what we believe and think the way we think and act the way we act about the world's realities because of some WhatsApp posts or TikToks or Instagram posts or YouTube lectures by so-and-so and the other. This is not, for a high probability, any real, reliable knowledge. You need to read books. You need to watch journalism, investigative documentaries. You need to read from actual scholars and specialists in disciplines about what's happening in the world, about how things work, how society operates, psychology, sociology, history, economics, war theories, the history of war, the history of America, the history of Islam. Not to memorize things to take a test, but to live your life because Allah is with you, but you're informed about how to apply who He is and what He wants of you because you know what you're dealing with. A lot of what we do is emotion. We should be intellectual, spiritual people. هل يستوي الذين يعلمون والذين لا يعلمون إنما يتذكر أولو الألباب. Only the intellectuals will realize that being one who knows and one who does not know is very different. And the outcome will be very different. You see, corrupt people who are seeking to promote evil in the world, lots of what our government does and other governments, they know very well how the world operates, and they try to work that for their best interests. I just got back from Washington, D.C., and I met with our Congress and Senate representatives and their chiefs of staffs, and I found out how far we're behind. So many Muslims will think, oh, it's because they're so powerful. No, they work for what they get. AIPAC is in their ears throughout the year at all times, telling them about their interests, their concerns, their values, their influence, what they represent, how they're going to benefit them, how they're going to help them get elected. And when I ask the blessing of one of the congressmen who voted for a ceasefire out of 17, I talked to the chief of staff and they're like, yeah, we sent in 37 trucks. And I'm like, now you are aware that before this crisis and this absolute destruction and genocide that's taking place, they were getting 400 trucks a day, regulated by the same people who are saying we can't trust them. They need 4,000 trucks today. And you're talking about, we sent 37 trucks. This person genuinely is the chief of staff for a representative of Charlotte, North Carolina, and has no idea why and how they make policy about the lives of Palestinian people. Guess whose fault that is? Our fault. We have a lot of work to do in understanding what's going on and where we fit. We're arguing about what meat to eat and how long your beard is and stuff like that. Absolutely. Guess what, Paula? I'm asking you, if you don't know the great, amazing history of Islam and the values in which the whole world is building their whole notion of international law and human rights that were rooted from the teachings of the Prophet, if you don't know that and you weren't taught that, trust me, that was intentional. When they left our lands and when they decided who would be in charge of what and what the borders would be, they put the remote control system on them. Let's make them give allegiance to a flag and forget what made them in the first place. As Umar radiallahu anhu said, when Abu Ubayd ibn al-Jarrah, who was one of the 10 Mubashirin, told him, man, why would you go and get your robe dirty and then you're going to meet with these great Roman people as we get the keys to Quds and all of that? He said, if you weren't Abu Ubaidah, I would probably slap you right now. نحن قوم كنا أذلة أعزنا الله بالإسلام فمهما ابتغينا العزة بغيره أذلنا الله حكمة بالغة. He said, we are a people who were just some lowly, nomad, corrupt, backward, weird people in Arabia. We had no influence, no power, no morals, no values. We were scum. And then God gave us this great dignity and strength through his message. And if we try to seek greatness through any other means, Allah will humiliate us. It's reality. We have to think about what we're doing in our life. We have to ask ourselves a good question. Do you want to be the best that you can be? Do you want to reach the highest of potential? Are you just going along with the flow? I got this degree, I'm making this money, I'm entertaining myself, my kids have fun, inshallah, go on vacations. But what is your goal? What do you represent for the world? What is your values? What is your mission in life? The Prophet ﷺ taught us how to reach potential. He said, "Al-mu'min al-qawi khayrun wa ahabbu ila Allah min al-mu'min al-da'if wa fi kullin khayr." The Prophet ﷺ said, you know, there's good in all believers, but the strong believer is better and more beloved to God than the weak believer. And then he describes what is a strong believer. Work hard for that which benefits you and seek the help of God and never claim, I'm too weak, I can't do it. It's not possible. I'm incapable. Never talk like that. Never think like that. Because if you talk or think like that, you will be that. Because that's what you believe about yourself. That's what you believe about Allah who created you and has all the power in the world to make you something very different. The Prophet ﷺ, then he tells you, in asabaka shay'un, if something bad happens to you, if you're doing your life and you're working hard and you're trying to be a great contributing entity to the world, you're trying to impact the world and bring goodness and altruism and benevolence and justice and truth and creative ways to make the best out of things, good relations between people. If you're doing that and then some bad thing happens, you feel something, hardship that befalls you, don't lose your way. We saw Ta'if, what happened to the Prophet ﷺ. We saw Uhud, what happened to the Prophet ﷺ. Had he have been like, oh, now we can't do it, we're no good, we lost, nobody would be sitting in this room right now. Not one person would be in this room. This would be a bunch of trees. There would probably been some townhomes by now. You have to understand what made you sit here today is something more powerful than anything in the world itself, because it is the creator of the world. You have to believe that and know that. Not because it sounds good and that's what we're supposed to believe and say, because it's true. Then he says, don't ever say if. The Prophet said, how do you become a strong believer? How do you become more beloved and better? Don't say if. If I would have done this or that, then it would have been this. If we would have done just this and that. No. You're opening the door to the devil. What happened is done. It's over. It's Allah's will. Whatever. I'm good. A believer is like, what can I do right now to make this world a better place? What can I do to make things better? What can I improve upon? How can I progress? How can I be closer to Allah? How can I bring His light to the world? Preparing for what? for that moment when I die. Because what happened yesterday doesn't mean anything. فَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. This is the believer's attitude. Never look back. Always look forward. Live in the now. Do your best. Believe in yourselves. If you truly know Allah, then He will be with you. And all of this corruption and tyranny will be broke down. And Allah will do it through us. Because it has been done before many times.